Hello everyone, welcome back to A Cup of Conversation with me, Nidra Simmons, or actually a day out in this nice weather, strolling in the vehicle with me, Nidra Simmons. It's a Sunday, an easy, relaxing Sunday. Just decided to take some time to just enjoy me and to share some thoughts with you all. I was talking about the trees, how the trees, they don't have to do anything. They stand still through all the seasons and they're still taken care of. They get their clothes taken off when they need to in the wintertime. They get fully dressed in the summertime. They'll get everything that they need throughout their lifetime. And they live a very long time. And that's because God's taking care of those trees. Could you just imagine if you surrender to God and just let Him take care of you? It's a wonderful thing. Being in God's company, surrendering to God, just showing Him how much you love Him, and being so grateful for all that He has done for you in your life. It's a wonderful feeling. And to know that God will never fail you nor forsake you. He's not man. What He says is what He's going to do. And I say He, but y'all know, Mother, Father, the universe, whoever you call Him, I call Him God. We are made in His image, so we're man and woman. But yeah, surrendering all to Him. I was thinking back to a period of time in my life where I had to put God to the test. I had to show Him that I knew that He was a provider for me. It was one of the most scary moments of my life. I'm not going to tell you no lie. And I even had family come against me. What are you doing this for? You ain't got a plan B. I don't have to have a plan B if I know God is my plan A. He is going to provide for me in all way possible. Look what He do for the birds. Look what He do for the insects. I mean, within this last year, I think I paid more attention to the life outside than I have with the life that I have been living. It's not God's will for us to work so hard. I was looking on the internet, and as the internet was posting, I seen a lady who was talking to the reporter, and I believe she had some children. She had people around her, and she was talking with such compassion. She was really upset. She was like, why do she have to work 3 or 4 jobs and not be there for her children? And then you got people out there that got like 3 yachts and 15 cars and all these houses. And she was like, how many of those things you need for one person? And she made a valid point. I wish I'd have got her name. I would give her credit for it. But like, I'm telling you now, she had a very valid point. You got people out here that is living the life, and they got all this extra stuff that they probably use once every couple of years. And then you got those who are here trying to make a living and provide for their family. And it's a blessing to have a family, you know. And she was like, it's not fair. And it's not fair. Life is not fair. And then I'm sitting out here looking at the trees and the outside life of what's in the planet, what's going on out here. And everything is taken care of. Now, insects, bugs, they have to work, you know. Ants, they have to work. those are working insects. They have a plan, a strategic plan on everything that they do. If you ever sat back and look at how an ant performs and how they come together as a group, and how if there's something that's over there, they need to get it, they'll make a chain of all the ants that goes and come out, and they get what they need to get, and it gets back to where it has to go. And they don't have to punch a clock. And people saying, what are you talking about, insects? But just look at the big picture. How God is so detailed. and how he has created us and how he has created this world that we live in. And I'm not even touching on what God has already put inside us as individuals. God is very detailed in what he do, down to the making of how the body works. We need to learn or come up with a way to work smarter and not harder. And we need to find a way that we can work that's going to benefit. All the way down to the very close of the bottom tatum hole. And I don't have a solution. I'm not coming out here with a solution. I'm just having a cup of conversation. And how, talk about how God has been so detailed and he has been so strategic in how he has done his creations, whether it be outside or humans. It's awesome. It's remarkable if you really take the moment to look at it. So I was in the middle of telling you guys about what I had done. Last year, I had left a job without a plan B. Nobody in my corner. Nobody in my corner. And I did it anyway. And, I was nervous, I was scared, but I knew without a shadow of a doubt that God was going to provide, because he's always provided for me. I just couldn't tell you what to do, how he was going to do it, when he was going to do it, where the help was going to come from. And sometimes when you're down and people know that you're down, they want to keep you down. Because during that time, there was people that could have helped me, but decided not to because they want to prove a point. Whatever point it was that they're trying to prove. But that just lets me know even the more that it's not for us to trust man, but to trust God. Trust your inner peace, the God that's within you. Because that God is going to direct you to where you need to go, who you need to talk to, what you need to do, how things need to play out. And that you don't need to always know everything. That's the key thing right there. We don't need to know everything. All we need to know is that God is a provider. And if you put your trust in him and believe in him from the inside, all the way through the out, he will provide for you. Because God is a provider. And the enemy will try to throw things your way. He will even turn people against you to make you think that you need to go and ask this person for help. Even the wrong people. Just to bring that negative energy back into your life. But if you take time to learn, to listen, to spend time with God, and even during that time, I was like, how do I really spend time with God? Because I can't stay quiet and sit in a quiet moment for so long. I mean, I can do it, but it's not like hours on end. It's just like a moment to just catch my breath and just relax, and then I'm up again to go. I just been programmed like that. I just always have to work. And during that time that I wasn't working, I was still giving. I've had people that was telling me sob stories, and I had been taken advantage of during that time, and that was even more of a panic for me, because I'm like, well, I barely have anything now, and I'm like, do I look rich to other people? But like I said, I did it last year, and that was a time of distractions, and that's when I was able to see how in depth the distractions come, how much the enemy wants to throw you off track. And I hope I'm making sense, because it seems like I'm going from point A to point B, but I do believe it will connect in the end. During that time, I've experienced distractions. I've experienced false people that said that they wanted to help me. that even wanted to provide in a relationship for him. It was just a lot of distractions that I have not yet encountered before. But as they say, new levels, new devils. But I thank God that He has created us and knows exactly what it is that we need. And He doesn't give us more than what we can bear. And that He is also brand new. He gives us new inspiration, new ideas. The devil, there's nothing new about the devil or his imps. They're all repeated people, spirits, entities that go into people, and they just do stuff that they feel that you haven't overcome. So if you had problems with certain things in the past, the enemy is going to go knocking on those doors again and just probably change the people, change the faces, but the tactic or where they're coming from is still the same. So that's why you need to make sure that you overcome things that God is trying to teach you. And to just keep your conversations between you and God. It's good to pray out loud. And I encourage you to do that when you're giving God the glory. Telling Him how awesome He is and how wonderful He is to you. But if you are trying to decipher a plan or try to come up with a way of communication for God to give you insight and for you to hear from Him, that's something you do inward. You can keep your mouth closed because God can come in here and in here. The devil can't unless you invite him in. And I don't invite him in. He is not welcome into any part of this vessel that God has made me. Everything about me belongs to God. But another thing I learned too about this past year is that there's a lot of people that wants to control you. And it's funny because if you know that you're blessed, or wait, let me rephrase that. If you don't know how blessed you are, but the enemy does, and other people that God allowed to see that you are, and you're not sure quite how blessed you are, that enemy, or he will send out his imps and then have him jump into people, and they would try to throw you off your tracks before you even know how powerful you are. I'm gonna pause on that for a minute, so let that sink in. This is why it's so powerful and so important for you to meditate, to spend time with God, to listen to your inner voice. Your conscious. Listen, take the time to listen. Don't be so quick to say, I want this, I want that, I want this, I want this, Lord, 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 God, give me this, no. Just listen. Because God is awesome. He will bring things back to your memory, things that you thought you forgot. All you have to do is listen. And take the time to slow down. Because in this world today, we are fast-paced. I used to live in Connecticut. Oh my goodness. When I tell you that was so fast-paced, I couldn't tell you whether or not it was Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. I couldn't because it was so busy. And I was working 2 or 3 jobs, in school, raising a family, taking care of my kids, trying to be a good wife. So I just stress that you just take the time to learn who you are. Sorry, I got distracted by the song. Alright, let me get back to what I was saying. But yeah, you just put your trust in God, because He will surprise you every time. And I guess this conversation turned out to be a little throwback of how far I've come. And I just want to say how good it feels to be in a space to where you can love and appreciate you and recognize that you are wonderful and that you are made in the image of God, who I am learning so much from. You know, I've read King James Bible a number of times. I'm just now starting to read the Black Bible, and I'm learning so much. And it's amazing how much one will do to take credit for something that wasn't theirs. But I'm going to save that conversation for another time, because there's a lot of things that we need to know about ourselves as a woman, as an African American woman, and our culture. But like I said, I'm going to save that conversation for another time. I want to take this time to just talk about how awesome, how wonderful God is, and how if you put your trust in Him and believe that He is your ultimate provider. In other words, also trusting yourself. You know, they say that we are gods with the little g. We are images that was created in the image of God. So we need to take time to understand who we are. We need to take time to love ourselves. We need to take time to know that what we say is important. Our decisions are important. I had a conversation, and I've said this in other posts before. I had a conversation with someone this morning, and it was like, there was a time in my life I used to wonder, when is it time for me to be a grown-up? Here I am, I'm working, I'm taking care of family, I'm paying bills. I was a wife. Even after no longer being a wife, I was a widow, still providing and taking care of my family. And I thank God for my family and how wonderfully God has blessed and is blessing my family and my spirit team. But to get back on point, what was my point? My point is that God is wonderful and He is awesome. So I gotta keep moving that camera. But He's wonderful, and that He will provide for us. Even when you don't have no idea how the rest of your life is going to turn out, He will make sure you are taken care of. You and your family will have food to eat. Even when you have no vision, you take that time to spend with you and Him. He will bring things back to your memory so that you know what it is that you're supposed to do. And He'll even give you a map of what to follow, so that you know how to do, you know how to maneuver. But I enjoy this drive and this moment to just talk, because sometimes we just have to let things go, let things just flow out, and recognize how far you have come, and know that you are positioning yourself to be able to go further. And that there's many chapters in our lives, and there's many books that's in our lives. We can go on from chapter to chapter, but at some point that book has to close. Another one will open, and in that new book, you need to start setting some chapters in that you can show how much you've progressed and where you're going, and have a better game plan to help those behind you. So we don't need to have a book with just many chapters. Sometimes we need to close the book, start a new book, and create new chapters. Because this life that we live, there is no book to tell us what we're going to go through, how we're going to come out of things. it's just lessons that we go through that God prepares us for. Look at Jesus. Jesus has been here before us, and he is the only, I'm laughing because the phone keeps going everywhere, but he has been here before us, and he didn't have a map, but we can use him as a guide to how he can overcome certain things. Now, he was perfect. He didn't let temptation take him down. At least we haven't seen that in the book of the King James, the regular Bible. But he was human. And knowing that we're human, we've all been tempted. But to know that you can overcome all these temptations is encouragement. To know that you don't have to stay where you are. This too shall pass. You can get to the other side. There will be a light at the end of the tunnel. And one good thing about tunnels, usually there's one way in and there's one way out. So you're not stuck in the middle. So I hope that I'm saying something that is encouraging, worth hearing, worth listening to. Woo. And I'm going to stop here because this camera's going on a ride. So until next time, stay blessed, love yourself, spend time with you and God, go inward, and stay blessed. Love you. Peace.